everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Sales Unfiltered. We are so honoured to be in the presence of Kwakye, UK Sales Director at Reward Gateway. Thank you for joining us, because he's just got off a plane from Ibiza.
Don't tell everyone that one.
I mean, you have given us the most effort to get here today, so thank you.
I'm honoured to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to speak to you today about your topic, which is how to lead and inspire. But firstly, for those that don't know you, can you give a quick introduction?
No problem at all. So, UK Sales Director at a company called Reward Gateway, working recognition, employee benefits and employee communication. Been at Reward Gateway now for just over 8 years.
Yeah.
Did a big post on LinkedIn about it.
I saw it.
Slightly viral, but
yeah.
no, it was really nice.
Influencer.
No, not me. No, that's why I was in Ibiza. But no, it was. It's been a great journey. 8 years, about 8 or so jobs at the company too. It's been a rocket ship of a ride. It's been crazy.
Well, I know you well. I know people that work for you, and that's why I'm so excited to speak to you, because as they said in this viral post for your 8-year anniversary, you are a visionary, you're a friend, you're a father, but also one of the words that they said is that you're inspirational. So I thought it would be a really interesting topic to speak to you, because you are a leader, but also how do you lead and inspire, and why is inspiring people when you lead so important to you?
I think being a leader in an organisation, it takes a lot, and it can be quite draining at times. Mm-hmm. The reason you need to be an inspiration to your team is because you're asking them to do a lot for you and a lot for the organisation. So much of our time is spent actually in work, more than your partners sometimes, more than you see your kids, more than you see your neighbours for sure. I don't see my neighbours that much anyway, but...
Do I have neighbours? I'm not sure.
I don't even know their names anymore.
No.
But this is the world we live in now. So if you're at work so much of that time and you're all pushing towards a solid mission, and hopefully you work for a company that really cares about what it's here to do in the world, you're asking so much. So if you're going to do that, you need to inspire people, you need to have them on the journey, you all want to be on the same bus together. From time to time, we've all worked for organisations where you might not have been inspired by the company, you might not have been inspired by your boss, and we all know the main reason people leave organisations. You leave normally because your manager isn't doing what they wanted to do, or someone's going to throw you an extra 10 or 15K. More times than not, having an inspirational leader, someone to work with you on the journey, it makes the job so much better and so much easier.
So true. And it's important to have that role model that you look up to. And I think being a leader, you need to lead from the front. You need to set the standards. So if you're inspiring your team and they truly love working with you, as you said, they'll want to stay in your organization and follow you, even if you leave that organization, which is a great thing. And you often see that happen. Lou, I know something that you're really passionate about is hiring diverse teams, diversity of thought. It's such an important topic to discuss. But I wanted to ask you, as a black man, how important is it for you to inspire and lead the next generation coming up? And what do you do within Reward Gateway to do that?
Having a diverse team is really, really important. It goes so much further than just race or gender. But being a black man and looking at my peers, I'm normally one of the only people in the room that looks like me. Yeah. So I understand the importance of representation, the importance of having a role model or someone that's done or forged a path, as well. So when you look at my team at Reward Gateway, it's 52% female, which I'm really, really proud of. And the girls are the top billers and the top sellers in my team.
Well done.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. But on top of that, racially, my team is the most diverse at Reward Gateway. And that's no surprise when they've got a black director looking at that too. I see past, individuals, what they look like. I look for their skills. I want to give them an opportunity. I've had some amazing leaders in my time that have given me opportunity that I might not have got elsewhere. And look what it did. It paid dividend, not only for myself, but also for the organization. So I want to be that positive change. I want to be that person that's able to provide opportunity where they might not have got it before.
And if someone's listening to this that's in an organisation where they don't promote diversity of thought, what can they do to help educate their business to really encourage that?
Do you know, it's a tough one, because a lot of organisations will give all the nice PR stunts and all these great LinkedIn posts. And I remember a couple of years ago, everyone had the black squares and we was all together doing this thing. Yeah. Not much has changed. Not much has changed. I think people are more hyper aware of certain scenarios now, which is great, but not a lot changes. So you as an individual, sometimes it's difficult to go into an organization and make such a big, monumental change, because society in itself hasn't changed that much. So actually it's about accountability and understanding within yourself. Can I make a change here, or do I need to look at something else or be elsewhere of an organization that really cares about this, that is making changes towards this? You know, I've been to a few events of some great organizations who are making positive changes. If you're an individual and you're working for a company that's not pushing that or doesn't have it within its narrative to improve in the future, potentially you should be looking at elsewhere. You should be going elsewhere. You should be thinking about organizations who do want to promote this, do have leaders that may look like you, may sound like you, maybe from your background, may have your educational background. These are things people should be doing. So yeah, it's easy sometimes to point all the fingers and all the rest of it, but sometimes take accountability and get yourself out of there and go somewhere where you're wanted.
Yeah, it might not be right. And as you said, it's so easy for companies to do those tick box exercise and especially externally make themselves look like they're being a very inclusive culture. But it's, what are they actually doing? Like, have a look at who's working there, have a look at the leadership team. Do you see diversity on that? Do you see someone that looks like yourself? Do you see someone that could be a role model to you? And then that's where it's really important. And I think in leadership, it's so important to be vulnerable and truly yourself and bring your whole self to work. But when you're feeling not 100%, you might be going through something personally, you might be struggling in your role, and you've got the whole team looking up to you and they're there to be led by your example. Do you find it difficult to balance how real you are with them whilst also remaining professional, and how do you get around that?
Yeah, being authentic is huge. When you're a child, one of the most frustrating things that happens in life is when an adult tells you to do something and they don't truly believe it themselves. The hypocrisy in life sometimes is what really turns people off in situations. That doesn't change as you get older. When you see hypocrisy, when you see things happening around you that is not a real situation, you naturally start to question, and you don't actually want to go along with a lot of things that happen in that sense. So when I'm working with my team and being a leader, I am authentically myself. We're human beings. You have good days, you have bad days. If everyone thought I just had great days and just carried on, they wouldn't trust me, because that's not real and that's not real life. So I am balanced, but at the same time, I'm very authentic around my team. If something is difficult, I communicate and I explain to them why stuff is difficult. Sometimes, you need to be vulnerable yourself. I work with a consultant called Dominic Taylor, very, very close friend of mine, very, very close colleague of mine. Both of us lead with pure authenticity. When things are great, things are amazing. When things are difficult, they're difficult. But what that does, it builds trust. And people know that my integrity is one of the biggest things that survives me. So by being authentic, it allows people to trust in what I do, because they know they're going to get the real Lou. Getting the real Lou is someone you want to work with. Getting the real Lou means when things are great, things are terrible, at least you know where you stand.
Yeah, so true. And you've got to show that you are a human as well, and that you are going through tough times. And it's not always going to be happy days for you as well. And I think that's where people will start to respect you a lot more. For those that don't know, you have had an incredible background. You were an athlete for GB? What ranking were you? I mean, obviously just like an athlete in the mist right now, but what was it that you were?
You're giving me too many plaudits. I'm a bit rounder now than the athletics days, but no, genuinely, I did really well, actually. I did really well. I used to play football. I did basketball under 18 men for England, which was amazing, I made the reserve team, so I was really, really lucky with that. Did athletics for a couple of seasons. I ruptured 2 Achilles tendons, which is a really difficult scenario. So I managed to make a few teams. I've done loads of stuff. I went to Loughborough University on a scholarship, which was also amazing. Got to train with Olympians. My older sister's an Olympian. There's just so many things around me that's been, kind of steeped in elite sport, and just understanding the kind of commitment and dedication needed to be to the top, to get to the top level. So that's what I've been around my whole life.
Fantastic. I would say let's go for a run together, but I'm not even going to try. But I think the reason why probably a lot of your employees at Royal Gateway said that you are inspirational is because of your background and what you bring that into what you're doing at the moment. So what attributes do you feel like your sporting background has helped you become a successful leader today?
The sport taught me a lot on life. Taught me about resilience, which is a big one. It taught me about actually failure. It taught me about failure. It taught me about having potential to do something, and things out of your control will stop you from getting there from time to time. And that's the reality of life. We wish it was such an easy road. I'd love to go downhill on everything, but that's not the reality. Things go up, things go down. And what sport did teach me is that being consistent, by working hard, by dedicating yourself towards something, and also, of course, being resilient, you'll get past those bumps and you will go uphill. You will get yourself where you need to go to. And that's one of the things I took from sport. That's one of the things I try and teach my team as well when they go through difficult scenarios. Of course, I look after a sales unit. People hit targets, people miss targets. But at the end of the day, you're here because we believe in you. You're here because we know you can do what you're paid to do. So with that being in mind, let's get on with it. You know, work hard, be determined, cover every single base you possibly can. And with a bit of trust and a bit of inspiration, you're going to get over the line. And that's kind of what I push towards my team.
That's why there's so many transferable skills, I think, between athletes and people that play sports and sales, because it is a competitive industry. It's results driven, and you've got to be resilient. So I think there are so many great takeaways to learn from that. I was reading an article recently on this topic from Forbes, and they were saying you can't expect your team to respect you just because of your stature and your title. And you wrote something really incredible on your LinkedIn recently, that humans aren't capital. And I think they tie really, really well together, because it shows that you're not elite, you're not further up than they are, and that you're all humans and that they're not just revenue. But can you talk a bit more about what you mean by humans aren't capital and how you impose this within your organization?
Yeah, your employees are the most important thing you're ever going to have. Without your employees, without your colleagues, you're essentially nothing.
Yeah.
I've never cared about my job title. It's never been something that's pushed me in my career to get to this title and to that title. I couldn't give a damn. What I could give a damn about is my team, their progression, where they get in their lives, if they can afford to go and create a great, beautiful wedding, where they can buy a house, whether they can do all these amazing things, have families. I care about stuff like that. So as a leader, my stature and where I sit in an organization is irrelevant to me. My job as a leader is actually to serve my team. My job as a leader is to go and make sure their job is easier. They can sell much better than I can sell. My SDRs can pick up a phone and have a better conversation with a prospect than I ever can. My researchers, which is again a role we created about 7-8 years ago, they can find better businesses than I'll ever find in my career. That's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is to make their world easier. And that's one thing I always try to do. And that's where the respect comes from, because I respect them for their craft and they respect me for making their lives as easy as possible. And that's the kind of thing in leadership I think a lot of people miss. You get to a certain stature, you get to a certain progression plan, and everything's amazing, hunky-dory, and I'm up here and I'm lofty. No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Your organization will fly when you serve your people. And that's what I try to do.
We just spoke with Todd Jenkins earlier today, and he was saying exactly the same, that in leadership, it's not about you, it's about your people. So that's such an important message, and thank you for sharing that today. What are some of the key mistakes, aside from that one that you just mentioned there, that you think leaders make for people that might be stepping up into management? They want to inspire their team, they want to help them succeed. What advice would you give from mistakes that you've seen from your experience, but also within your network?
I've seen a lot of mistakes in my time. I've made a lot of mistakes in my time. I'm also human. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen, especially for contributors that want to become leaders and do become leaders, is they try and manage the way they was like to be managed themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What you have to appreciate when you're dealing with individuals, you're dealing with individuals. And I know it sounds so basic, but it's the truth. A manager or a coach cannot look after every single athlete the same. A football manager can't treat every single player the same. They're all individual people. So one of the biggest things for a leader or a manager to do if they want to be successful is to understand what makes their people tick and what turns them off. And by understanding that, you can vary your management style. You can talk to individuals in a different way, in different paces, different pitches, different tones. These are all really crucial things for managing a group of people. And when you're new in the game, you don't quite get that bit. And then again, another thing I've seen leaders do is not tell people the honest truth early enough. From time to time, there are sensitive things that happen in business that you cannot tell your employees just yet. And that's okay. I think most people are understanding of that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But what happens is that sometimes you try to control the information too much. And information is not currency, and I say this a lot to a lot of my leaders. Don't use information as currency and give people snippets here and away here. Don't do that, because ultimately you need to tell your people as soon as possible, as honestly as possible. And when you do that, they will appreciate it, because they are adults too.
Yeah.
They're dedicated to your organization. They're dedicated to work. They want to know what is happening, so they can actually plan themselves. And a lot of leaders, they use that information as currency, drip feed it to particular people, send it this direction, that direction. No. You need to talk to your teams. You need to talk to your organization very clearly. And then again, they'll follow you on the journey.
Well, you need to be transparent, because otherwise if you're not saying the whole information and the whole honest truth, people will hear little bits. And then that's where people talk, and then they'll spiral something completely out of control. And you're like, well, I just should have said the whole truth to start with. Lou, you've had an incredibly successful career. You've been at Reward Gateway for 8 years. I know you're really passionate about leadership, and from this conversation, I can see that you are such an inspirational leader. But what is like your goal? Where do you want to go with this, and where do you see your career ending up? What would make you happy?
Genuinely, I've started working with a coach, funny enough,
Really?
An executive coach, and he helped me in the way that I communicate, in the way that I act in and around work, in other little elements. Where I want to end up, I don't actually know. And that's a really weird thing to say as a leader and someone that's quite ambitious. I don't know where I want to go, but I do know what I want to do right now. And what I want to do right now is I want to lead teams. I want teams to be really, really happy. I want teams to progress and have amazing careers, whether they're with me or elsewhere. I say something to my team all the time and they laugh at me. If they ever want to leave Reward Gateway or leave my team, I'll help them get their next job. I'll get them the pay. I'll get them the pay increase. I'll tell them what to negotiate and how to get equity if they even needed to, because I want people to do amazing in their worlds. And that's one of the reasons I love Reward Gateway, because it's an organization that's allowed me to thrive. So I want people to get that same experience. So what is my future goal? Right now, I have none. I just want everyone in and around my environment, in my sphere, to have a fantastic career and keep on pushing that forward.
I think that literally just shows, because you care about your people more than you care about yourself, that your goal is for your people. So inspirational, and I think I've learned so much from you today. I'm sure everybody watching as well has also. But every interviewee, I ask them the same question at the end of the interview, which is, what's one failure or challenge that you faced in your career that's really shaped and molded you to get to where you are today? So what's yours, Lou?
I think the one that's probably dictated a lot of my mindset and my career so far actually was when I was doing track. So again, I started track quite late on. I was seen chasing a bus. My sister again being, I was seen chasing. It's
you were
incredible.
Scouted like a model.
No,
but
genuine. I'm not as pretty as a model. I'm definitely bigger than a model now. But no, I was seen chasing a bus, and my sister was there, and she was an athlete at the time. And a week later, I was in a pair of spikes, and I was running at the South of England Championships.
Wow.
You know, after that, I won the England South 200 meters. I came third at English schools in 100 meters. I finished fifth in the nationals at the 400 meters. Just completely random.
Flex.
Random start, a little small flex. But then, you know, after going to Loughborough, joining the Olympic training group, which was amazing, some incredible athletes, Martin Rooney and a few others, again, good personal friends of mine, I ruptured my Achilles at the University Championships. And that was tough. That was tough because it took me completely somewhere else I've never been before. You had this amazing trajectory, and all of a sudden it just stopped. But I had the best people around me, looked after me, kept me sane. I got back, raced in Amsterdam, came fourth in the Grand Prix. I was ready to go again a year and a bit later.
Amazing.
Trained, bang, other Achilles is gone. Oh, gosh. 2 Achilles tendons, you're not coming back from that. People talk about anxiety, depression, all these types of things. That's the reality, you know? Put on an extra 15, 20 kg, you can't train. You finish university, you see all your training partners going to the Olympic Games in 2008, in 2012, and you're sitting there with a boot on your foot, looking at TV, eating ice cream, all right? Difficult. But what it did allow me to do was refocus my attention to where I could be amazing. And I knew business, and I knew fitness, and I knew sales was a great angle for someone like me and my characteristics could go and just really thrive. So going through that difficulty and understanding that life isn't over really propelled me to do the things I do today. So when I see difficulties and I see people going through stuff, sometimes you just pause, 1, 2, 3, take a breather, think about it, and then go again. And that's something I'm always trying to encourage with my team, because I've been through some of the worst things you can go through, and I made it the other side. So trust me, you can join me on this journey. So that's one thing there.
Incredible. I have to ask though, do you regret anything? Have you ever looked back and thought, what if? Or are you happy with where you are now?
Nah, you can never think what if, because what happened has dictated where you've gone today. Had I continued to do athletics, I might not have my greatest ever prize, which is my son. You know, I might not have met his mother. I might have done something else. Had I not got injured, I might not have met Reward Gateway and had a fantastic career there. So no, you can never have any regrets. Just be grateful for the experience, whether it was good, whether it was bad, but it's set me on the right journey now. So no regrets.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he's inspirational. Thank you so much. That was such a great conversation, and you are absolutely smashing it. You should have no regrets. I think thinking what if is literally the thief of joy. So just be happy in the moment and keep doing what you're doing. But thank you so much, Lou, for chatting to us today. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thanks for having me, Izzy. Thank you.